So we have 5 rounds left of regular season footy to play, and up until this point, there's still one team that stands above the rest in terms of, I guess, form, and they were always going to be the team to beat heading into the new season. We're of course talking about the Penrith Panthers. They are the benchmark, and in this race of trying to catch up to the Panthers, there aren't many teams that pose a genuine threat, if I'm being honest. Teams that we thought would kick on from a decent showing last season have regressed, and the top 8, as close as it is on points, like we've been saying week in, week out, the disparity in talent and ability is actually quite jarring. Like, just look at this top 8. So sitting on top at the moment, we have the Panthers on 36 points. They're joined by the Broncos also on 36 points. And to round off the top 4, we got the Warriors on 32 and the Storm on 30. Bottom half of the 8, you got the Raiders in the top 8. The fact that they could be in and out of the 4 with the way they've been playing is kinda nuts. They're in 5th also on 30 points, and at 6 we got the Sharks on 28, another team that is just leagues below the current league leaders. So you got the Knights at 7th on 27, and on 26 points to round off the 8 you got the Bunnies, currently on a downward spiral themselves, breathing down their necks. Also on 26 points you got the Eels and the Cowboys. Things are about to get spicy for that bottom half of the 8. As for our results, last week we went 7 from 8. The one team that let us down, and I'm sure would have let many other people down, were the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I really liked the look of the Bulldogs on paper, but I thought the Bunnies would start their run. It wasn't to be. As for the bakery, only 2 players saluted. That's been super hard to nail, for me at least, the try scorers of this season. But yeah, not a bad showing for our picks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the team lists for this upcoming round and make some predictions. So to kick off round 24, we got a Thursday night game between the Sea Eagles and the Panthers. This being played at 4 Pines Park. Yeah, look, home game for Manly. Other than that, they don't really have anything going for them, if I'm being honest. And we're going to keep it short and sweet in this and take the Panthers. I don't see them dropping a game for the rest of the season. I love a head-to-head battle between the two halves, and DCE and Cleary, every time they've met in Origin, or I should say most times they meet, DCE outplays them. But in this Manly pack, I don't think they can hang. We won't even go through the ins and outs for this game, as I do think we'll see much of what we've seen from the Panthers in the past, and that is belting teams, tackling teams into submission, and just grinding them out. Would love to be proven wrong, but yeah, we're taking the Panthers, we're taking them 13+. So to kick off the Friday doubleheader, we have the Sharks hosting the Titans at PointsBet Stadium. The outs for both teams, starting with the Sharks, we got Hazelton out. Taking his spot on the bench will be Jesse Calhoun, and also Ronaldo Mulitalo will be back on the wing for Hiroti, who has dropped out of the squad and will be their 18th man. For the Titans, they're missing some crucial players, 2 middles in fact, both Sam Verrills and Moeaki Fotuaika. The good news, Big Tino Fa'asuamaleaui makes his way back to the squad, so that's a straight swap for Fotuaika, and Chris Randall will be in the 9. Randall been one of their standouts this season. Another thing to note is that AJ Brimson has been rested for that little niggling injury that sat him out of last week's game. Also, I read that Sam Verrills is actually gone for the season. He'll be getting surgery on his shoulder. As for my pick, it's a little harder to predict than that first game, that's for sure, but I'll be leaning towards the home side in this. They bounced back in a major way last week, and I see them carrying that momentum into this week. Tina will be a massive win for the Titans. They kind of missed his presence, or well, they definitely missed his presence in the middle of the field. Also, no Verrills as well, but in saying that, like I said, Chris Randall's been pretty good for them. It'll be an interesting game to watch. I'm not confident in the Sharks getting the win, but it should be a pretty entertaining game given both of these teams are like attack dominant, so plenty of points. In saying that, I do think it'll be close. We'll take Nico Hines and the Sharkies 1-12. Friday's main course is a clash between the Broncos and the Eels, this being played at the Gabba. In terms of ins and outs, starting with the Broncos, they'll be without Jesse Arthurs. He's been, I don't believe dropped, it's for the head knock, so a mandatory stand down. The ins though, the ins are huge. They welcome back skipper Adam Reynolds. They also welcome back forwards Kobe Hetherington and Jordan Ricky. They'll be replacing Xavier Willison and Corey Jensen. Now for the Eels, rookie winger will be dropping out of the side, that's their single out, and taking Miller Stevens' spot on the wing. They've actually shifted Simonton out to the wing, and Deja Nasi makes his way back into the centers. I actually like that change. They also welcome back Brendan Hands to the bench. There's been a little bit of a shuffle to their bench, with Andrew Davies starting and Ryan Madison coming off the bench as well, so it's looking like they want their workers, they want their goers on deck, and they'll be looking for spark from Brendan Hands and Ryan Madison. Should be a good game, you know. My pick for this will be the Broncos at full strength, and they'll be hard to deny. Still no Reg Campbell-Gillard for the Eels. You could probably expect Joe Ofahengawe to come out and have a blinder against this former side. But yeah, full strength, it's hard to look past the Broncos. I do think they'll win that battle in the middle. You have Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan both peaking. Yeah, I think they get it done at home. It's going to be an interesting watch, but I'm taking the Broncos by 1 to 12 points. To kick off Saturday's footy matches, we have a 3 PM clash between the South Sydney Rabbitohs and the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Now, ins and outs, starting with the Bunnies. They will be without Michael Cheekham and Tom Burgess. Burgess will be unavailable until finals. It's been a tough go for the Bunnies in terms of their middle forwards, and that Burgess loss is huge. They're still without David Totola, who's been their most consistent middle forward. Along with Cameron Murray, of course, this season. With that in mind, they got a front row pairing of Jai Arrow, and we're going to call him Smith, Shaquai Mitchell. They also welcome back Jacob Host to an edge, left to be exact. And for the Dragons, they're out Frankie Molo, Jack Bird, and Zach Lomax. They've got plenty of ins. First of all, taking over for Frankie Molo was his brother Mick Molo, Ben Murdoch-Marcelo. He'll be playing lock, and Toby Couchman joins Ryan Couchman on the bench. Also, they welcome back Moses Sully in the centres, and replacing injured centre Zach Lomax, they got Max Feangai. As for my pick in this, although the Bunnies will be without their main middle forwards, I do think they have enough to get the job done, especially with the Dragons missing their main threat in attack, and a Zach Lomax makes things even more difficult for the Dragons. I didn't see any threats, if I'm being honest, in that back five now, and that forward pack isn't really doing anything for me either. I think the Bunnies run back into the top 8 will start this week. They'll be kicking it off in style. I want to take the Bunnies to get a big win, 13+. And your second game for Saturday, we have the West Tigers versus the Warriors. This was supposed to be a home game for the Tigers, but Tigers, one of the few teams, or might be the only team that did the Warriors a solid, and as a kind gesture for that COVID period, gave this home fixture to the Warriors, so it would be played at FMG Stadium in Waikato. In terms of ins and outs, starting with the Tigers, they have one out, and that is Charlie Staines, forcing a little shuffle to their backline, so Gino Dubois moves from the center to the wing, and coming into the centers, they got Asu Kapawa. They also welcome back Stefano Utuikamanu. He'll be starting, pushing 12 to the bench, and joining the side, back on the bench, Sean Bloor. As for the Warriors, they got the one change. Chance Tego Klukster has a mandatory stand down for a head knock he copped last week, and taking his place at fullback, they've got Taine Tuaupiki. As for my pick, I do think the Warriors will be a little disappointed with their performance last week. I was expecting them to pump the Titans after Fotuaika got sent, and the game ended up being closer than I expected. Granted, they did run away with it in the end. I'm looking for them to come out fast and firing in this one. In saying that, it's a pretty good matchup with these forward packs. You already know how I feel about the the Tigers and their forward pack. They definitely have the talent to rattle this Warriors forward pack, but are lacking massively in attack when it comes to fluidity and just overall cohesion. But yeah, I'm tipping the Warriors to go big in this, so we're taking them 13+. Super Saturday will be headlined by a rematch, a round 1 rematch between the Sydney Roosters and the Redcliffe Dolphins. Now, in terms of ins and outs, start with the home side and the Roosters. Dylan Napa makes his way back into the NRL. It's been a minute since we've seen Napa in the league. Last time he's played in the league was in 2021, it says here. I do wonder what took them so long, because it also says he's played 13 games in Cup. Anyway, like I said, that's the sole change, and he'll be replacing suspended Nathan Brown. Now for the Finns, there's no one on the outs list, but Ray Stone does make his way back into the side. He returns to the bench, and Herman Ese drops out of the squad. They've also got Cody Nikodima starting at fullback and Hamiso in the centers, but we'll see come game day. As for my pick, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. The Dolphins, they look fatigued, withered, lethargic, and the Roosters, they've looked and played like headless chooks all season long. They low-key stack up nicely in the head-to-head. I genuinely don't have a clue in this one. The Chooks still have a chance to make the 8s. Super slim chance. I think it's do or die from here on out. And for the Finns, man, I really thought they'd play finals, but their ill-discipline, man, that's been consistent throughout their debut season, and it's let them down in the end. But yeah, my pick, no confidence at all, but we'll take the Chooks at Allianz, and we'll take them in a close one, 1 to 12. The first for 2 on Sunday, we have the Melbourne Storm taking on the Canberra Raiders. This being played at Amy Park. In terms of ins and outs, starting with the home side, they welcome back a couple weapons in Jerome Hughes and Xavier Coates. And for the Raiders, one change. Seb Chris has been ruled out for the rest of the season with a hamstring injury, and taking his place will be a New South Wales under-19s standout, rookie Ethan Strange will make his debut. As for my tip in this, typically I'd say Melbourne and Melbourne will be hard to look past, and although I will be tipping Melbourne, I will say this, the Raiders have pulled off an upset or two at Amy Park, but seeing how the Raiders have been performing these last few weeks, I don't really see them pulling off another upset. In fact, I think the Storm will get by quite comfortably in this, so we're going to take them by 13 plus. And to put a cap on round 24, we have the Newcastle Knights hosting the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs at McDonald Jones Stadium. In terms of ins and outs, starting with the Knights, strike center Bradman Best is out with an abductor injury, so Inari Tuala makes his way back into the side. And for the Bulldogs, Luke Thompson makes his way back into the team. This will be his first match of the season, replacing rookie Harrison Edwards on the bench. As for my tip, now, it's a pretty dangerous game for the Knights, currently on a run at the moment, winning 5 from their last 5, and the Bulldogs, 2 from their last 5, pulling off an upset against the Dolphins last week. Do I think they can go back to back against the Knights? Honestly, no. The Knights at the moment are flowing. Kalen Ponga is peaking. This side compared to the side that they lost to in that 66-0 thrashing, I think we'll keep it tight, so we'll take the Knights 1-12. So to wrap, we are taking the Panthers 13 plus, the Sharks 1-12, the Broncos 1-12, the Bunnies 13 plus, the Warriors 13 plus, the Roosters 1-12, the Storm 13 plus, and the Knights 1-12. As per usual, there'll be a list of OddSquad Bakery aka try scorers, and if you have any tips and predictions of your own, let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you later.